Most doctors are impressed when they can come up with a diagnosis, but most diagnoses are only descriptions. That's all they are. There's a description. Oh, he has inflamed skin. Pay me a lot of money for that. Yes?
I was going to say, I've noticed a lot of times, like broccoli will think for an edible to lower cholesterol. A lot of times broccoli will think for an edible to high cholesterol, but then, sometimes a lot of broccoli will have like a primarily high food diet, of some of which are very acidic for me, and so they'll have a very high pH. And I've noticed when I've tested people's cholesterol, like raw foods and stuff, I've seen some of the healthiest ones with very high cholesterol. And, which in some ways, the cholesterol is protecting the organs from the acid in the body so that the acid in the blood doesn't burn the organs. But on the other hand, they don't realize that their pH is still acidic. And,
Right.
They think that the cholesterol is good for them. But,
Well, she's talking about cholesterol. We've been duped over and over again, right? In the beginning, when we were born. They slapped us when we got out, and it's been downhill ever since, right? They started sticking needles in us and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, one of the things they've told us that we believed is that our cholesterol's bad. We should not have high cholesterol. There's no studies to show that high cholesterol does anything. And there's no studies to show that lowering your cholesterol helps you. There's studies to show that Lipitor will lower cholesterol, but there's no study to show that you would therefore live long. Now, what does cholesterol do? Many, many things. It's an important component of our cell membranes. And this is just an aside, but it's an important aside. Cholesterol is also, as you know, if there was no cholesterol, we would have no babies because we wouldn't have any sex hormones, and we wouldn't get horny, and we wouldn't have follicles, and we wouldn't have sperm, and all that stuff. So cholesterol is responsible for sex hormones. Cholesterol is also responsible, along with sunshine, for vitamin D. Cholesterol is also what's required for the production of bile salts. Bile salts are what allow us to assimilate fats. So when you eat an avocado, if you want to assimilate it, your body must break it down with bile salts. So bile salts, what are they doing? They're cleansing the liver. I'm going to take a couple extra minutes because we got in here a couple minutes late. Yeah, so cholesterol is really a protection. So if you've got a high cholesterol, it means your liver is probably trying to detoxify and get rid of a lot of these fats that have built up.
Are you familiar with old Dr. B, the Iranian doctor that is famous for the water cure? And he says that a lot of the body's symptoms are reactions to dehydration. For instance, cholesterol, if you don't get enough water in the body, there's cholesterol to line the arteries, steal water from tissues.
No, I'm not. I mean, I've heard of the water cure, and I'm not familiar with it, but that makes perfect sense. And dehydration is ultimately what happens. You look at someone who's getting old, and their skin's wrinkling, and they're drinking lots of water. What's happening? Well, the water's not getting inside the cells, so we have intracellular dehydration, even though you have enough blood volume. So the idea there is hormones help get that in. But so if your hormones are getting low and all that, but if you're eating right, that won't happen for a few hundred years. But the other thing is in order for water to get into the cells, it needs to be structured. And the best way to get structured water is to have plants do it for you. Plants structure water better than any system you can buy. And remember, that system you're buying is making someone rich. And guess who already thought of it? The universe. God. It's already been thought of. You don't have to do this.
How do you use plants to get your structured water?
Juice it and eat it. You get water. I mean, do you ever get thirsty eating a fruit salad? Do you ever get thirsty eating a salad? So when we eat foods that are not lost their water, we're not thirsty. Okay. And then if you,
say don't drink additional water?
you won't need to, if you're, especially if you're juicing. Okay, treatment. If you add electrons to the body, you have restoration of polarity. The Steeler's condition, the electron stealer condition goes to the electron donor condition, which goes acid to alkaline. You get up to minus 70 millivolts, and you have enough energy to begin healing. Okay, that's just a summary. How do we, this is important, this part here. How do we get electrons into our body? Normally, alkaline water, which is what we're talking about, water that moves across the earth, picks up electrons. Okay? Uncooked food. Right? If you put a voltmeter on a potato, as I said, you'll get a register. It'll register. You put a voltmeter in a baked potato, you won't. Okay? So when it's alive, it's got voltage. Okay? So, uncooked food. Cooked food requires the body's voltage. That's why it drains you. That's why when you eat cooked food, you feel tired after you eat, because it's requiring energy. It's the opposite of eating uncooked food. Okay? How else do we normally get electrons in our body? By touching the earth. The earth is full of electricity and electrons. But what do? We brilliant mutants. We wear insulators on our feet. We want to avoid all electrons we can, right? Sunshine is an electron donor. We need a minimum of 20 minutes a day to convert cholesterol into vitamin D. But we also get electrons from it. Where else do we get electrons? Moving water, which is why showers are more invigorating than baths. Standing in a stream, standing next to the ocean. Okay, all that moving water gives us electrons, gives us that vital energy. The rain is moving. Feels good to be out in the rain. Children play in it. We hide from it. We run inside and watch TV. Okay, touching another living thing, petting an animal, hugging your friend. When two people hug each other, after a while, if you hold your hug long enough, you'll both walk away with the same electrical charge. Because one has a higher, one will have higher, one will have lower. And so we need to hug each other. And it's best to hug each other without clothes.
Oh,